post-reablement pathway, which is quite interesting if you've got the time and capacity to look at the data. So that's reablement. And the final one, which is MHRA, MHRA Patient Safety Alert. So probably everyone knows that the Patient Safety Alert was published by the MHRA at the end of last summer, I think it was, maybe the summer before, no, 2023, yeah, there. And it was particularly looking at items that people may have around beds, bed rails, grab handles, lateral turning devices and trolleys and so on. There is a particular issue or increased risk for people with atypical anatomy and where people have adapted their beds. So again, if we think about, we sat for quite a while and we started to understand, okay, what are the questions that need to be asked? How do we baseline? We're working with Sunderland again. How do we baseline their cohort of people who they know have got this equipment and understand whether they have an atypical anatomy, understand whether they have adapted their beds? So come up with a script which asks, do you still have these items on site? I don't know if I've got the questions here. Yeah, we do. Okay, so do you still have this equipment? Can you confirm that you've got a rail or a handle or a lever? We quantified what atypical anatomy is, like a certain height and so on. So we ask a question around whether they have atypical anatomy, essentially, whether they've adapted their beds, whether their needs have changed since that equipment was delivered, if the equipment is still meeting their needs, and if it's still in good working order. So it's a seven question survey. And what in the first year that will help baseline the understanding of who has that atypical anatomy, which will then prioritize those people for a risk assessment. It also then feeds into driving the return of equipment that isn't in good working order and replacing that stuff that's not being used, as well as prioritizing those people who may have adapted their bed or attached the equipment to another bed, which also may be dangerous. So here, the impact will be around quickly and accurately identifying the people at risk, prioritizing them to have the equipment maintenance or a risk assessment. Currently, clinical and non-clinical staff are calling people to ask these questions. So we'll be able to automate the calls going out, and then they'll go out on an annual basis after that to check that the equipment is still working, they haven't adapted their bed and so on. Also sort of feeds into their contract management and maintenance oversight, as well as training materials and workforce training. So this is quite a niche service, obviously, but it's really important in light of the fact that this equipment can be dangerous to people, and so that the service can keep an eye on them and ensure that everything is working properly.